Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome everyone to our 27th UTM Engineering Captain of Industry. My name is Muhammad Rafiq and I am the Dean of Engineering, University Technology Malaysia. Today it is my utmost pleasure to welcome Dato Engineer Wong Ching, Project Director, MMC Gamuda KVMRT.
Good morning
Hi.
to all the audience.
A bit about our presenter today. Dato Engineer Wong Ching joined the Malaysian Government Service and was attached to the Public Works Department under the Ministry of Works as civil engineer and served in various posts including as district engineer. Attached to PWD headquarters as Senior Superintendent Engineer of Highway Branch and was Director of Education Works and later State Director of PWD Perak with a Premier Grade JUSA C. He retired from the government service in 2008 and joined Gamuda Group in 2009. He was seconded to MMC Gamuda as a technical advisor for the electrified double tracking rail project from Ipoh to Padang Besar and was later project coordinator for the MRT Sungai Buloh Kajang line project prior to his appointment as a project director of MMC Gamuda KVMRT Sendirian Berhad, to helm the organization for being the project delivery partner for the first ever MRT line, Line 1 SBK line, which was delivered ahead of time on 16 July 2017 with saving on aggregate contract value. Currently, he is helming the second MRT line project, Sungai Buloh Serdang Putrajaya line, from a PDP to turnkey contractor model effective January 2020 and targeted completion in July 2022. That is another Malaysian-led MRT second line on the way to benefit the Malaysian public at large. So that is a brief biography of our distinguished speaker today. Here now is Dato Engineer Wong Ching, Project Director MMC Gamuda KVMRT on COVID-19 pandemic and its impact to the construction industry. Dato Wong Ching, over to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dato Engineer Dr. Muhammad Rafiq, Dean of Faculty of Engineering UTM. I am indeed honored to be invited to give this short talk for the COVID-19 pandemic and the impact to the construction industry. In fact, it's about, by coincidence, this is the right timing to talk about COVID-19 again. As you know, for the past 2 days, the COVID-19 positive cases in our country, Malaysia, has gone back to double digit. It was 42 the day before. Yesterday, it was 62. I don't know whether I can say that we are back to the second wave, because this time the positive cases are all reported in the outer fringes of Malaysia. That's in Sabah and in Kedah. Unlike it was during when MKN, the National Security Council, declared MCO, it was more clustered around the Klang Valley and the peripheral. So I think this morning's talk, I think we will more center on how this pandemic has impacted our construction industry. And the content of my talk today is more center of on the three main areas. What was the impact? And the health and safety risks. Of course, it was the mitigation measure. And mitigation, I think, to be exact, we also should be talking about preventive. Okay. Let's look at how this COVID-19 has impacted our construction industry. I think the first bullet, I think everybody is is very familiar. I think I don't have to elaborate on that. Likewise, the second bullet is worldwide. That's why it's called pandemic. Now, the third bullet is how COVID-19 outbreak have affected the supply chain and disrupt the manufacturing operation around the world. And also, Malaysia is not spared, as we rely heavily on supply chain, mainly from China, but not limited to China. And I can name a few offhand. Now, we have supply chain not apart from China, we have it from Spain, Italy, Korea. You see, China was the first to have this outbreak in Asia, and followed by Korea. Then in Europe, we have Spain, Italy, Germany. All these countries are in one way or another is related to our Malaysia second MRT line, and more on manufacturing and software development. So, in other words, we have gone through a very challenging time during this the declaration of MCO by the government. Now, what has been the period of the most challenging time is during the MCO period, the movement control, where nothing can be done. Just stay indoors. So many companies have to suspend operation due to lockdown, and the production line practically had to stop. The shipping containers just remain at the ports. Land transportation totally stands still. Especially starting in China, Wuhan totally locked down, and all our production lines in China, they just cease operation because nobody is supposed to get out of the house. So no transportation, of course, material from this equation, what can we do? Contractor just couldn't find any alternate. And more expensive sources of food and material, that will lead to our project cost overrun. Actually, it's a very simple supply and demand fundamental. And when there's no supply, the demand is there, you have to pay. That's why it's called project cost overrun. Now, come to project delays. Now, these supply chain issues are certainly a cause of project delay, and it could lead to potential claim by both upstream and downstream. What do you mean by upstream? Upstream is the owner, is the government. Now, you delay the completion, you get fined with so-called LAD, liquidated damages, certain damages. Downstream, we have our subcontractors. They are being delayed, and they have to incur additional costs in so-called prolongation. That means just idling of manpower and disruption costs. While the machinery not able to perform anything. So the overhead is there, but they can't generate revenue. So additional cost and time required in implementing the measures to prevent outbreak, which could cause further need to extend the completion date. Of course, being the turnkey contractor for this project, we have to go to the government to appeal for some assistance. Now, what sort of assistance we are appealing for government? We move to the next slide. Okay, before I talk about what sort of assistance we need to go to government, I think this is the safety and health risk is on the screen, but I don't think I really need to read through. Everybody will know that, you know, you have to be in full compliance with the government SOP. Otherwise, you'll be issued a stop work order. Okay. Come to the most important section of this my talk is how do we mitigate and subsequently to preventive measures. Now we have we started with on 18th of March, where MCO was implemented, and it was subsequently declared as a control MCO, which started on 4th of May. Then come towards July, we have the RMCO recovery. Now, during the MCO stage, from 18 March to 4th of May, nobody is allowed to have any activities on site. So what to do? Or work from home. Of course, work from home is quite limited because we are most of the work is very site-based. But we couldn't just let the 2 months pass without doing any non-site related work. That's how everybody is working from home. We have virtual meetings, and in the meantime, we have made appeal to the government. In fact, on the very moment the government declared this MCO on the 18th of March, I stayed back late in the office on the 17th of March to prepare a letter of appeal to the government. That is the MKN, the National Security Council. The appeal for a waiver for certain essential works that they need to continue for safety grounds. You see, we have a tunneling boring machine, TPM. It cannot just stop like that because they gone through very sensitive area in the heart of the KL city. Then we have all the long span special span, which was launched but not fully stressed. It's on temporary support. So we have to convince the government, the MKN, to consider to allow us to continue to work over these few important essential areas. And the government was very kind to us. They allowed us to work. But majorly our work, like station work, system work, is still come to a standstill. Meaning to say that we have lost about 2 months of productive work, and only come in May when MITI was the main agency, I would say agency, who can approve the resumption of site work. So all our contractors and subcontractors need to apply individually to MITI. And through this portal, online. So we were able to resume our site work only in May. And I move to the next slide. Now, apart from able to resume the work, we have to plan out our strategy and how to mitigate and prevent our workers from being infected. Why I'm giving the audience a glimpse of this slide This is from the Star paper front page yesterday. Give us time to build what? The accommodation for workers. These are one of those pictures taken by the media. They say that the government actually have given the deadline 1st September for not only construction industry, all employers will give proper accommodation to the workers. But employers say we need more time because of the MCO. Most of the industry, they are not doing well, and they need a lot of lead time to plan, and they ask for 1 year. But for MRT project, due to the advanced and proper planning, we have already have a CLQ, the Central Labour Quarter, in place. And we have a large population of workforce residing at the CLQ. And we know very well that failure to impose high level of safety precaution may result in huge impact to the project. If any of our workers stay in CLQ get infected and tested positive, the whole CLQ will be closed down. And we are back to the square one, we are back to the drawing board. So we have to do a lot of preventive measures to ensure the worker safety and the well-being. Now, what are the measures we have taken at the CLQ? Okay, this is the first three. I think is quite common to everybody. Everybody knows about it. Mandatory PCR test and space time requirement to all CLQ residents. Now, but to say that is easy. But initially, when I start testing, wanted to test all the workers, I have a lot of resistance from my subcontractors. They say, oh, they have been locked down for 2 months already. So they are not now they got no chance to go around. Why should they be tested? But to ensure that the work site and the CLQ is clean from virus, we enforce it. But we resistant, but we manage to enforce it 100%. Then we screen each and every worker with IT using the QR code, so to monitor the movement. No worker is allowed to get out of CLQ at all, unless there's exceptional matters, but need to comply with SOP. Now, our CLQ, our Central Labour Quarter, was originally designed to accommodate 600 workers each block. Actually, we have more than 7,000 beds facilities in our CLQ. But we also, because we want to reduce the density of workers in the CLQ, we also expanded, we built more. At least, at the present time, we have 10,000 beds. What else do we do in the CLQ? Okay, standardization and washing facilities. So we separated the cooking and eating areas, where each cluster will have designated areas. I will show you some pictures to share with you. Regular cleaning and sanitization in common areas 3 times a day. That's in the SOP. Cleaning of common areas 3 times a day. Social distancing in each cabin, wear face masks. No one is allowed to go out without permission, and workers' movement is controlled. ISO area allocated at each CLQ with medical assistance in the event of any suspected cases. We even have quarantine area, isolated area within the CLQ. Now, coming to work. After the temperature is taken, they get into the transport. And we have to maintain social distancing. This during MCO. Later on, during RMCO, public transport was allowed to be, to be run at full capacities. So this requirement is being relaxed. Now, having done the basic PCR test, we follow up with every week. We have this so-called rolling RTK antibody, rapid test kit. We have rapid test kit. We test on every worker. As an early detection, you test virus, the antibody will show up. Now, these are the additional measure we have taken to even subcluster each of the CLQ, which have original 600 capacities, but we also don't want to get into the situation when, in case one worker is being infected, the whole cluster of 600 workers has to be quarantined under close contact or casual contact. So we subcluster each of the CLQ into smaller subcluster. That means from 600, it becomes 150. So in case any unlucky case, unfortunate case, so it's only a subcluster of 150. Now, in Sertang, we have 7 main clusters, but we subdivide into each cluster, main cluster goes into 4. So from 7, we have 28. We have another CLQ in Sungai Buloh. We are doing the same thing with subcluster. You can see we are doing the weekly rolling test, temperature screening. See, this is a social distancing. This is a regular cleaning, sanitization. Now, before I go to the preventive measure at work site, I was watching the CNA from broadcast by Singapore this morning, early morning. Apparently, Singapore is implementing all the social distancing at the CLQ and the work site. Now, as everybody knows that Singapore has close to 60,000 of positive cases, out of which more than 90% come from CLQ. Now, what Singapore government, they have done a good job for centralizing the workers to stay in CLQ. But during the outbreak, they miss out a very important, I shouldn't say it's oversight, maybe it's the oversight, that they didn't take control of the basic things. Social distancing, segregate them into smaller group. So that's how every day you can see Singapore have few hundred workers get tested positive. And now on site, they are implementing the same preventive measure which we have been doing on site. I will go through what we have implemented on site. See, every project site, we have some strategic approach to prevent the spread of COVID-19. We have to conduct risk assessment on the exposure of workers to the virus and implement mitigation measures. All workers have to undergo PCR test as a baseline. Now, yes, I have said that those in CLQ, they have gone through basic PCR test. But I also have a few thousand workers because they're musicians, they have families, so they are not staying in CLQ. So I call them the non-CLQ. So we are very strict. No one, be it workers, supervisor, or management staff, is allowed to visit or my work site without showing the certificate of being tested PCR negative. And we are not compromised on that. And even from the owner, the government side, they come to visit. They say, okay, sorry, we need you to show us you are tested PCR negative. So every morning, there will be health screening and checking at every entry point. Then, even at work site, they have social distancing, and we monitor the workers' movement. Okay, clustering of workers in the smaller group with staggered working hours is another measure we are taking. Now, for the non-CLQ workers, site staff and management, they don't stay in CLQ. Unlike the CLQ workers, every morning they get out of CLQ, they go into the bus, transport, they go to the site. Work the required number of hours, finish, go back to the transport, straight away back to CLQ. No chance of them being able to, being exposed to any other areas, because the transport will send them back to the CLQ. So there's we eliminate the chances that they are interacting with outsiders. But because of the existence of non-CLQ workers, site staff and management, we have to separate the work zone for CLQ and non-CLQ workers. And even during break and tea break and lunch break, we are creating CLQ rest area and non-CLQ rest area. No gathering, and we encourage virtual meeting even in the site office. All workers are giving training on prevention of COVID-19 and health hygiene. Priority given to health hygiene and cleanliness of worksite, regular cleaning, mandatory to all staff workers to wear masks, preventive self-hygiene, and also weekly, even non-CLQ is a weekly rolling test for antibody. Clear space separation, as I mentioned, at least 1 meter, provision of washing machines, washing facilities, with safe disposal system on site. And we have been audited or being checked by authorities like CITP on regular basis to see whether we comply with the SOP. So we have a checklist, they have a checklist. So every time we go in, the PIC, the person in charge, will every day we make sure, go through the checklist. All the SOP are in place. So I think I've taken more than time I've been being allocated. So I think I should end my talk. I hope I'm given time to answer questions if Dato you allow.
Okay, thank you very much, Dato Wong. Sorry for the confusion just now. So my name is Nadia. Thank you very much for your insightful and inspiring sharing with us. Now for our Q&A sessions, we have few interesting questions from our viewers to our captain. I can see from our comment in Facebook below. So we believe that it will benefit our students, staff, alumni, our community as well. Our first question is from Ahmad Buhari. Dato, you have been in industry and government sector. What does new graduate need to have in order to be excellent when fresh graduates start working?
Okay, thank you, Ahmad Buhari, for asking this question. Okay, as a fresh graduate, I think you have received all the basic academic training and education. In fact, you are considered academic very sound. But the moment you step out of the academy, you're joining the industry. Now, we have certainly have to make the new graduate to be able to also contribute to the industry. But somebody say, what can a fresh graduate do? You just come out and bring your school bag along, you don't go through the books at me. That is something which there's a common question, but I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. You see, being fresh graduate, now you're coming industry. Most important to me is you have the right attitude. You must be able to think outside the box. You are trained as an engineer. Now, engineer is always encountered with a lot of problems, both through the design and on-site. Now, engineer, I mean to solve problem. Engineer don't say, hey, the book says it, the book says it. I think there's no solution for that. If he said like that, I think a technician. The technician can do the work. The technician also just read the book, read the Ryan Act, hey, read the book lah. You don't have to bother, just follow. And no problem can be solved. Engineer is meant to solve problems. So, fresh graduate, how successful you are, I always say to a lot of people, your academic qualification is only your passport to come to the industry. What matters most, how far can you go, is on your side. So I hope I have answered your question.
All right. Okay. Thank you. For our next question. So from Hidayah Patah, what is the future operation plan for construction industry if you are facing with another pandemic?
This is a very interesting question. I find it very difficult to answer. If I want to answer it in a very direct way, then nothing we can do. Another pandemic, another MCO. But as I said earlier to the young graduate, hey, we are engineers. We are in the management group. We must know how to. Preemptive is very important. Now, like what I say that why we need to take control and manage the central labor quarters. Now, we have to play our role as an industrial player. You make sure that all your workers staying in the CLQ are observing all the SOP. Then what's the chances of you getting infected? Let's say, well, okay, we are not in full control because there's so many industries. Okay, they have to actually jointly contribute to help the nation, the country, to make sure the pandemic, another pandemic doesn't happen. But should it happen, what to do? Should it happen, what to do? Yeah, okay. We might have to ring fence. I might have to ring fence my CLQ. I might have to ring fence my work site. Okay, I will tell the government. My record shows I've done this, I've done that. And my record shows that so for months and months, I have no new cases similarly on my work site. So I have to convince MKN. Okay, you can lock down other areas, but not my site. Okay, my project. Okay, Dr. Nadia.
Okay, so I guess okay. So our next questions, there's lots of questions here from Putri Murni Adila. Currently, there is a lot of new technology for construction industry such as BIM. So how can the industry adapt with the fast changing in terms of having this technology, new technology in construction projects?
Okay, Putri, this question nothing to do with COVID-19, but I still can answer the question. Okay, good question. BIM is a compulsory in MRT line 2. All the design, especially all my underground design, is using BIM. And our construction also be under the BIM under the BIM design. So we are already very current. We are one of the early leaders using BIM. But I cannot speak for other sectors. But for MRT Putrajaya line, we are the leaders in it.
All right. Okay, that's good to know. All right. Do we have any more questions? Okay. So for our viewers, thank you very much for your interest with our program. It is always a pleasure for us for having our viewers for our webinar, Captain Industry. Thank you very much, Dato, for your insightful and also for your answer for the questions. I hope this will bring benefit to our community, to our students, and also to the researchers outside. So from me, stay safe, stay healthy, keep your social distancing. Please don't forget to like, comment, and share our programs. Have a good day, everyone. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'll pass back to Dato' Rafiq for his closing remark for this session. Over to you, Dato'. Okay, so I've been told that Dato' is not around. So in that case, you have me now. So thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much, Dato' Wong. We'll see you again in our 76 COI. So this is the end of our session for today. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Nadia. Thank you for the audience for your patience with me. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Dato'. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.